All right, so we just saw The Conjuring 3. Well, we didn't just see it. We actually watched
2 hours ago.
Another movie.
Yes.
Since we watched The Conjuring, the devil made me do it. So, Kaylee is a little bit bigger of a fan than of the Conjuring verse, or the Conjuring movies, the two Conjuring movies, than I am. I quite enjoy them, but you love them.
Yeah, I do.
I love Annabelle Comes Home. That's the only Conjuring film I love. But, so, I was mostly looking forward to this. And you were...
Super looking forward to it.
Yes. So The Conjuring 3, of course, is not directed by James Wan. So that gave me some serious hesitation on this film. Since, of course, the guy who did take over directing was the one who directed The Curse of La Llorona, which is a very mediocre film that I liked, but mostly because everyone hated it, and so when I went into it, I expected it to be shit. And when I walked out of it, I was like, oh, it was alright. So when alright became a, yeah, I liked it kind of thing. Anyways, so this one follows the case that they were on. I think they had involvement in this case, right?
Yes.
Yeah. The devil made me do it case. Let's just get this shit out of the way. Let's get to the point here. I wasn't very big on this film.
Nor was I.
Nor was she. So yeah, we talked about this pretty at length. Pretty at length? Is that a word?
Pretty at length?
Pretty at length?
Yeah. Yes, I think
That
it
doesn't
works.
work.
Mostly at I think it works. Pretty at length.
Pretty at length.
Don't overthink it.
Don't overthink things. But yeah, I mean, okay, so a lot of my problems stem from the villain. I think one of the great things about the Conjuring universe is that it has so many memorable villains. Whether it be the Conjuring films or the Annabelle films. There's even, I mean, the Nun is an iconic character within the Conjuring verse as a villain. Even though I don't really like the movie very much, the Nun in the Conjuring 2 is used quite effectively. But in this one, we really only deal with one villain, like, ghost monster looking thing. And it's just not scary. Like, it just doesn't work for me at all. And it's used primarily. So it's like a crooked man, a nun, a ferryman. There's so many, iconic villains in this franchise, and this is not one of them.
No.
Like, at all. And it's what they use the most. So there's a couple other things, but they're barely used. So that really, really hurt the film for me. What's something that hurt the film for you?
Well, this is spoiler free.
Spoiler free.
I don't know how to say it spoiler free. Is the problem.
Well,
but I feel like there was a lot of potential to go a certain direction, and they didn't really go down that route. So there was a lot left out that could have been expanded on.
We're talking about the case?
Yeah, like the court case, but...
So I think what she's getting at is that they don't really spend any time with the devil made me do it case.
Yes.
That's the second biggest downfall of the film. So you have this kind of monumental case in American jurisprudence, and it's really not explored almost at all. And you're sitting there while watching the film and thinking, like, why are we not handling this case more, like, intimately, like, where they're there involved with the lawyers and the judges and like, they're coming in and providing evidence that's going to be used in the case.
Yeah.
Like, this is here because that's the whole point of the movie, is they're trying to get this fucking guy off. We know what the film's about. We know that this guy does something and that he claims that the devil made him do it. So this isn't a spoiler. It's in the fucking title of the film.
Well, yeah.
So we know that this is famous court case, right? And so you think that that's going to be a primary focus of the film, them dealing with the court case. And while they are technically doing that, it doesn't really have anything to do with the courts. It's kind of like a basic case that they would normally do, and then it just kind of ends. And I was like, okay, so we're never going to deal with the case at all? Like, we're not going to... What? So, all that stuff didn't work for me. And as I had said to her, I feel like the only thing that this movie was successful in is something that it already had in its arsenal when the movie started because of the two previous films, and that is the love for Ed and Lorraine Warren, played by Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson, which we already loved them. So loving them here is not an accomplishment. I'm not wowed that you made likable characters likable. That was earned in other films. So now make me like other characters, make me like other villains, make me like other setups. All the setups for all the scares in this are very predictable, very uninspired, very, lifeless. I just, none of the horror worked for me. And that was a huge issue for me as well. It's a horror movie first and foremost, right? And we're there for Ed and Lorraine Warren. I mean, that's what we're coming back for at this point. And while they're good in it, like they always are, that's expected. That's the layup. That's the fucking, that's what's expected of you. Now you have to expand upon the franchise. You got to take it in a different direction. You got to challenge the audience. You got to do something risky. You got to show us things we haven't seen before. This film did none of that.
No. But all the scenes with Ed and Lorraine were great. They really were. And there was a couple... There was a couple not scares, but a couple creepy moments that I think were pretty effective that we talked about that I liked.
Few and far between.
Yeah, not the majority of the film.
And there's a lot of predictable things.
Yes.
Like I guessed something the second it was said, and then it's a revelation later in the film. And I leaned over and whispered it to her 2 seconds after it was said, and then it's 30 minutes later they're like, "Oh wait!" And I was like, "Really?" Because I got it instantly. Where were you? So, I don't know. That kind of stuff irritates me. I feel like every other character in the film besides Ed and Lorraine I couldn't give a fuck about. There's no attachment to anyone. Like in the first film, you're very attached to the family. You want to see them get through this. And then in the second film, same thing. This one, they do a basic job of introducing us to our main character, the guy who's the devil made me do it character, the Arnie guy, and his girlfriend, and their little romance is cute. It's fine. It's I'm rooting for them to a degree, but I don't really feel like much is earned, and I don't feel like. I even said there was stuff that happened at the end with a detective that just didn't feel earned. It was supposed to be kind of dramatic and endearing maybe, and I was just but we have no connection to this. There's nothing connecting us to this emotion and to this scene because we don't know anything about it really. It's stuff we all have to kind of just fill in the blanks on, and you can't do that with emotional stuff. There's just too many things with this film that I just genuinely didn't care for, and the horror being number one, and this is a horror movie, so failure for me in that regard. Ed and Lorraine are great. Who cares? To be expected.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree with Arnie and his girlfriend. We don't get enough time with them to actually get a deeper connection, and we talked also about how the family is there's so much left out with them.
Oh my God, yeah.
That it's just really difficult to feel like you can relate to them, especially with the previous two families in the first two films as comparisons.
This film should have focused way more on the court case.
Yes, 100%.
That's one of the great things about the second movie is them coming and investigating it with reporters and with people who are trying to debunk it and all these things. Like, they should have brought this to the judge. They should have brought this to the news. They should have brought this to all sorts of different things. And they should have been put on the stand. And they should have been, like, none of this happens. All literally, you can think this is a spoiler all you want. I don't really care. Literally all that happens is he pleads not guilty. And then we get some, like, text at the end that tells us what happens. That's it. That's the fucking case in the movie.
Yeah.
The title of the film is The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, which is a famous case, and you don't focus on the case at all. That, to me, is just like, what? What? That's crazy to me. So, yeah, no. And it'd be fine if I felt like the horror worked. And then I would have been like, oh, it would have been cool to see the case too. But the movie was so cool, I don't care. That's not what happened here. I didn't like the horror, and I didn't like how the story went.
Yeah.
And then Patrick Wilson's character is, Ed, is dealing with an ailment. And I don't know. Like, does that really affect the film that much out of sight? Well, I guess
I like
just
that element,
connects
actually.
it.
Yeah, I really like that he had
That's fine.
some issues, because I feel like it gave more tension, especially for just, their relationship and what ends up happening between them.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of an added layer of like, oh shit, is that gonna mess something up or what? But
I guess it works. I
don't
don't
feel
know.
like it was pointless or anything.
No, not pointless.
Yeah.
I was just asking your opinion on it. You're right on that. But as I said, Ed and Lorraine work. Everything else doesn't.
Yes.
But the thing that was handed to the director is Ed and Lorraine. So it's like, these are the characters they love. Here's the actors that they're going to love. Now take everything else is you. So basically everything that the director was in charge of, which is everything but Ed and Lorraine, he failed on. And then the thing that he was handed, he succeeded on. Big fucking whoop.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. Anyway, well,
But if you like the Conjuring movies, you should watch it. I think it's still, it's good enough to watch it. It's not like
it's a filler episode if this was a TV series.
Yes, definitely filler.
Yes. This is a total filler episode that you'd go like, ooh, I like some of the character development of those characters, but I didn't like the episode.
Yeah.
Like, there's definitely episodes of, like, The Walking Dead or something like that where I'm like, ooh, we got to learn more about Daryl. That's cool. But the rest of the episode was kind of lame. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it's on HBO Max. Watch it on HBO. You don't need to go to the theater for this. You don't need to drop down fucking $15-20 or something. Definitely not. We went to the theater for this. But I would have much rather have watched it on HBO because I have HBO. But I was like, oh, I'm going to support local horror in this town, and didn't need to do that.
No, not at all.
Anyways, all right.
Bye.
Adios. Bye.